Welcome back. It is February 16th, almost spring in some parts of the country. So have you seen your first robin yet? If not, be patient, still early, but be thankful that you haven't gone through what I'm about to show you. In a quiet little neighborhood, folks there just minding their business when literally out of the blue this happened. Blackbirds falling out of the sky by the thousands, all at once in a virtual downpour of death. This is a town in northern Mexico, more or less on the flight path of the migratory yellow-headed blackbird. And this is what the streets of that town looked like on the morning of February 7th, littered with carcasses. Every one of them a little clue to a mystery that has yet really to be solved. Man, just crazy. Enter our detective, Nat Seavey. He's the director of migration science for the National Audubon Society. Nat, thanks so much for being here. First question, it's an easy one. What happened?
Well, that's actually a tougher question than it might seem. And it's certainly something that the local experts are going to be spending some time. You know, whenever there's an event like this, certainly it takes a lot of work to look really into the details about everything that went on there. And without seeing everything that happened, you know, we can only take sort of a guess at what might have happened. But certainly there's some interesting things to see in this video.
Yeah, okay, so some of the theories that are circling out there, and you're going to have to be the arbiter of all of this, 5G cell phone towers, maybe power lines. This one was interesting, pesticide-tainted wood that's burned for heating. Does any of that sound legit, or could it be something as simple as predatory birds chasing them?
Yeah, well, certainly there's all sorts of things out in the environment that pose a threat to birds, and that's one of the things that makes this so challenging. So one of the things that's unique about this particular species and a number of other related species like blackbirds and starlings is that they form these incredibly dense flocks. And a lot of people might be familiar with some of the videos of these incredibly dense flocks that wheel around in the air. They're called murmurations, and they're absolutely spectacular. So those flocks, you know, it seems that this was a case where one of those flocks, rather than being inspiring, something went awry.
Like it's like lemmings, maybe, that they followed these leaders, you know, to their death. These are really rare events when you see these birds just sort of come crashing out of the sky like that. But in 2020, in the desert Southwest, there was an incident where researchers blamed wildfires and drought. Ultimately, they said it was climate change, and it makes me wonder if you think that we're due for more of these scenes.
Yeah, in this case, you know, seeing this many birds go into the ground all at once, to me, it suggests that there was some sort of disturbance involved. Back in 2010, 2011, there was a case, again, with blackbirds where a number of them at a large roost in the middle of the night were frightened. They were disturbed by fireworks, and many of them collided with buildings, and there was a number of mortalities there. So to me, this looks like it was likely something that could have caused, you know, some sort of other disturbance, whether it was a predator or something else going on in the environment that caused these birds to collide into the ground.
So one of our producers, Jim Guthrie, had an amazing question that I don't think I would have thought of on my own, but he's just that smart. He said, you know, you look around and you see millions and millions of birds flying and doing their thing in the trees and waking you up in the morning, but you almost never see a dead one. But they all have to die. So where do they go when they die?
It's a really good observation, and it's one of the things that makes understanding bird conservation so tough is that we very infrequently find dead birds. And it's one of the things that's so, you know, really heartbreaking about this is that even though this is going on, it's not often that we're confronted with a graphic illustration of how easily birds can perish. You know, even something as simple as a bird running into a window, even that kind of collision can easily cause a bird to die. And that's one of the reasons that the Audubon Society and many others are working to reduce the risks that birds face in terms of collisions in the places that we live.
I can only imagine that a video like that would send, you know, your folks at the Audubon Society sort of into a grasping of pearls for starters, but then also an opportunity to study and try to find out more. I'm so thankful that you joined us tonight because I'm still completely flummoxed by this. Nat Seavey, thank you for your insight.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to know what you do know, that's for sure. Okay, thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.